Ladies and gentlemen, welcome you to Insights from Inside, our unique podcast series by iGCB Intellect. Today we are joined by another guest of ours, Sairus Bapooji, Regional Head, Middle East and North Africa. Please join me in welcoming Sairus with us.
Thanks, Mithu. Good to catch up with you.
Good to be on the podcast with you.
Sure.
So Sairus, you represent a very interesting landscape of Middle East and North Africa. Very, very diverse demographics across the area.
Absolutely.
Any insights that you would like to share with us about it?
Sure. So, like rightly said, it's a very different market. So, Middle East is right now, it's really booming. I would say at least the GCC countries. So, two-paced market, you could say. On one side, you have the oil exporting countries, the GCC, right? And the other side, you have the oil importing countries, which is Egypt and Jordan. I can say the developing countries. And so it's very robust and resilient, I would say, very resilient, the economy. They're doing pretty well. And and the best part is they are in terms of diversifying into non-oil sector as well. The non-oil sector is growing, and huge, fairly good population in terms of young, tech-savvy, young population, and the need for digitization is there. And they're exposed to all the social medias, they're very active in social medias. So their hunger is there for the social media, the digitization basically. They were looking at digitization.
That's great. And in fact, I also understand that it's an overbanked population.
That's right.
Right?
Especially the UAE, it's definitely overbanked. So the UAE has a population of 10 million, and we've got about 54 banks.
Wow.
So it's definitely overbanked. And in that market, you have about 4 or 5 banks who have a giant share of the market, and the rest of the banks are very niche players. So that's a big challenge when it comes to CIOs or business people. How do they leverage technology to get more market share, and attract more clients, right? So that's one big concern that CIOs have.
So what are the kind of challenges CIOs are facing when they are taking their technology decisions?
Sure. I think one of the challenges, a few of the challenges that CIOs have is how do they monetize the technology investment? Because that's something which is asked from the boards, right? That's one big concern. Second is, how do they reduce complexities within the tech environment? Because over the years, they build up these, they put layers of technology, and it becomes very complex to manage, and then the cost of ownership goes up. So how do you reduce that technology complexity is one big concern. And the third one would be continuous innovation. They have to
give them an edge.
Give them the edge, and also to take care of their internal stakeholders. So that is one thing which is again thing. And the last would be regulatory. The regulatory requirements coming up from the central banks all the time. And they come with very strict guidelines and deadlines, which they have to take care of.
A very large landscape of covering the central banks as well as the retail banks.
That's right.
So what about that? So what are the central banks looking for, and what are the retail banks looking for?
So central banks have multiple priorities, I would say, and again, it depends from country to country. Some of the countries are getting into instant payments. That's something which most central banks are getting into it. Today, central banks are talking of CBDCs. So that's one area. Central banks are fairly matured over there, and we are talking to quite a few central banks in the region, especially given our Reserve Bank of India story, our relationship with the Reserve Bank of India for the past 12 years, where we take care of the entire backbone of Reserve Bank of India, the core banking, the treasury, and all the back-end payments as well. So that's a story which I definitely would like to share with all the central bankers in the region. And so that's something which would be of good interest to them.
Absolutely. And especially with our solution really supporting Reserve Bank of India as a backbone for integrating so many different systems.
Correct.
That definitely comes across as a compelling story.
And now with the upgraded version, which is completely on the cloud, managed by us with all the latest microservices, APIs. That's an incredible story.
And I think being one of the first central banks going on cloud in itself is an inspiration for so many central banks to consider it, right?
And a very bold thing for a large bank of its size to do that. It's really bold and credible.
Absolutely. So on the retail side, there have been a lot of conversations around the growth in the SME banking space. While there are challenges, but there are also opportunities. Would you want to discuss that?
No, absolutely. I think there's a huge opportunity for banks if they have the right systems in place. So I think one of the concerns that banks have when they lend to SMEs is the risk part and the entire the repayment part. So if they have the right operational controls in place, and I think they should enable technology to put these operational controls in place for the right credit evaluation. And today they have so many factors that they can consider for credit risk evaluation. So for example, we have this complete GenAI based underwriter assistant called Kiri, which is basically complements the underwriter. And so what it does is basically it apart from just summarizing the entire loan application, it also gives recommendation to the underwriter.
Absolutely.
And just as you have the GenAI based chat GPT, where you can ask questions and it basically responds back, the Kiri, our GenAI based underwriter assistant, does that. And further to that, it also takes care of the entire documents. See, for any SME or corporate, there are lots of documents involved. And these documents go back and forth with the clients, and that increases the friction of onboarding. So the our entire Kiri application, it does take care of the entire ingestion of these data. It auto-populates, it validates the data, and then it summarizes that into the entire application. Right? Wow. So that's the entire journey end to end is completely seamless. We've done this for a large bank in Abu Dhabi. The complete onboarding part, the entire SME onboarding part.
That's great. Yeah. And that actually sets us apart from what's already available in the market, right? We are one of the first ones to really launch a generative AI-based lending solution in the market.
Absolutely. In fact, that is one, because now with AI coming in, banks have to look at the data. Because data is important. For any LLMs to run, it has to have good set of data. And that is something which we are currently working with banks on addressing that. And also because that becomes a platform for your GenAI.
Absolutely.
GenAI based any of these components.
Great. So coming on to the next aspect of the solutioning in the market, another conversation that's really been picking up a lot is on open banking. Open banking, the way banks have been adopting and driving a new trend and trying to make banking more contextualized to different markets. So what about that? What would you think on this?
Absolutely. That's something which is definitely coming up now. And if you look at especially UAE and Saudi, they are fairly advanced. Both central banks have come out with very proper guidelines, frameworks for open banking. And so banks are definitely looking at that. And fintechs also are quite excited with these frameworks and drafts which have come out. And it's in fact a source of alternative revenue for the bank as well. If you look at open banking, open finance, where if they service a large retail, if large retail wants to offer financial services to their clients, right? So they can actually, they'll come to them rather than they getting to banking. So basically banking as a service, a BaaS, complete BaaS platform. And that's a good revenue for the bank as well. So today banks are looking at a proper system, open banking system, where they package programs for these large retailers or these large customers, to onboard their clients and provide financial services to their clients. So that is big opportunity, and our complete open banking solution, which is completely composable, contextual open finance platform,
and based on our eMACH.ai platform.
Correct. So that is something which people are definitely looking at it, and quite excited to go with that.
Absolutely. And I think just this also brings me, and you've been stressing on experience, right? An experience and an engagement. For banks in UAE and North Africa, customer centricity is taking a center stage,
Correct.
right? Do you think these solutions are solving for that need of the bank?
No, absolutely. Like I said, it's an over-banked market. It's overcrowded. So especially these tier two, tier three banks, if they have to get a market share, they have to do something different. They have to beat the giants in the market. And one of the tools for that is the entire digitalization part, the customer facing part, and that is so things like hyper personalization. Things like the entire SME, the entire credit journey, the virtual cards, offering these on the digital platform
Right.
for retail clients. That's something which definitely would help them to get a market share. And the entire concept of the entire personalization, hyper personalization. So today it's become a architecture game. See, and it's no more just a product. Banks want independence they want some independence, they want to control the user experience. So they look at a platform which come with domain services, and where they can actually modify, they can have extensibility, they can add workflows, they can modify the workflows, they can add new screens, right? Control the entire user experience. And that's where it's moving. The market is moving towards that. It's becoming a platform game now. And our new platform, the eMACH.ai, that is something which is really useful for banks to get onto the entire digitization platform.
And I think that is what is helping you contextualize the experience for all the markets in a diverse way.
Correct.
Right?
And also the entire, it's a single platform. We're offering a single platform for retail, SMEs, and corporate with deep functionality. So just on the platform, it comes with the PBCs that we call them. It comes with these package PBCs. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Sairus, for staying with us and having such great conversations. Thank you for listening to us, staying with us, and please keep watching this space for a lot more interactions with our leaders. Thank you.